Welcome back to Show and Tell. I'm Billie. I'm coming to you from Manhattan, my 9th floor tiny apartment where there's no yarn stashed. There's only works in progress and finished objects in this place. Although no FOs today. No. There are finished objects, but not recently finished. I am going to show you some of the things I've knit for summers past and how I style them before I wash them and put them all away for the season. But first I wanted to bring you up to date on the knit along that I've been hosting over on Zoom. I will leave in the show notes a link. If you want to join us, it's not too late because there are recordings of the first several sessions, so you could easily get caught up. And the sweaters, so far it's not that difficult. The front and the back are differently sized and differently shaped, actually. The whole like underarm construction and decreasing as you approach the shoulders is completely different for the front and the back. But right now, they're going to look the same. This is my back. It's the smaller of the two. This is my front. It's a little wider and it's also longer at the moment, but I'm working on both of them in tandem, and once they both get to the underarm, I will do the decreases and proceed upwards from there. Since this is largely a vintage knitting channel, you probably are aware by now that most vintage knits are knit starting at the bottom up. Often there's a great deal of ribbing. This one, the whole thing is ribbed, but the bottom band is on a smaller needle, so the waistline should be cinched in a little bit. Sorry, this is my row counter hanging here. I have another row counter hanging on this one. It's not very elegant looking. It does the job. So besides the front and the back, I know I've shown you this before, but in case you have never been to Show and Tell, this is part of one of the sleeves with what I believe are like German short rows. So that's how the decreasing happened in here. Some of the decreasing. Anyway, I'm not sure what's going to happen from this point on. I have to see how it fits in because this construction is not like a set-in sleeve. It's not exactly like a raglan either. It's something strange. So I'll be able to tell you more once I've gotten the front and the back ready to receive the sleeve. And I'm still at the same place on the collar. Oh, it's really wrinkly. So, no updates here, but moving in the right direction. Here in the United States, it's Labor Day weekend. It's the last big hurrah for the summer. After Labor Day, the convention is to no longer wear white, like you wouldn't wear white pants or carry a white handbag or wear a white shoe. I mean, everybody wears white sneakers now all year round, so it's no longer that, but like a white heel you wouldn't wear, a white strappy sandal you would no longer wear. That's just kind of the tradition here. So having said that, I would like to share with you a variety of sweaters that I have knit in the past that constitute my ever-growing summer hand knit wardrobe. I never seem to have enough sweaters for the summer. Summer in New York can really be very hot and very sticky, so I never want much clinging to me, and I don't want anything with long sleeves, even if it is cotton. So I have styled each of these sweaters, which is what at the very, very beginning of the Show and Tell channel, I promised you that I would be coming to you, showing you how I put together accessories with my sweaters. So here we go. So first up, I have this two-tone lace jumper, and I would accessorize this with this bracelet matching necklace and the matching earrings. These are check glass and enamel with a little crystal bead there. There are always lots of options, so I could really go with just a very simple necklace or a rather flamboyant earring. There's always lots of possibilities, but let's move on. You might remember this kind of a sailor collar that I put sequins on, again with a tied neck. I do have this earring, which is kind of like the perfect color. These are made in Japan. I imagine they're from the 1950s. So I could pair it with these. This is a little bit fussy, so you can't really add too much to it. Those would probably be my go-to earrings for this. So sometimes in the sweater I like to wear this top that has cold shoulders, and then I have a shawl that I knit that I wrap around myself, and I love to add on this three-dimensional necklace. I don't know if you can see that this end protrudes and there's a curve in this. It's not flat. It's very interesting Italian necklace by a woman named Maria Calderara. I also have this long necklace by her, which is kind of an illusion. There's like fishing line here, so you can't really see that these things aren't just floating in midair. So that's kind of how I would accessorize this scarf. Of everything that I've ever knit, this little number took me longer to knit. 4.5 months to knit this Fair Isle Genie with a neckline and sleeves that were steeped. For this, I like to do a fairly simple accessory because the sweater's so busy. So it's often these little earrings with crystals in them. Or I like to do this green Art Deco story. A lot of these earrings are screw back because they are truly vintage. You get used to wearing them after a while. Sometimes I pair this with this little green glass and ceramic necklace, which hangs right in this neckline. It's a little tricky because there's so much going on in the sweater. You don't want to overdo it. I almost forgot that I had knit this little hat. It's kind of like a mortar board. I think they call it Jubilee something or other. I'll put links to these things, my Ravelry pages for them. For the ever popular ranunculus, I like to layer it up. So I may go with something like that. It's like a faux jade vintage piece with these green stations. And I can add this necklace in too. There's also a crazy pin with the dragonfly on it that coordinates nicely with that. These earrings again are just perfect with this. As is this necklace. But I can also wear these white earrings, very summery. And I have a white milk glass necklace. It's very long, it's like flapper length. So it can go around the neck multiple times. It could be styled like that. It could even go a third time. This is the As If tee, and I love to pair this with a bold pin, which has matching earrings. But I've also been known to wear these or these earrings. Lots of things mix and match. This doesn't look very good on a hanger. I apologize for that. I guess none of them really do. This is the slit neck. What's called slit neck tee, slit neckline, something like that. Not slit neck, slit neckline. I did this with a group of people as a knit along as well. And for this, I have these pretty earrings that are made of glass, also vintage. And a necklace that my stepmother gave me decades ago that works so well with the earrings, which are a fairly recent acquisition for me, like in the last year or so. This could be layered up too. Let me show you these beads up close. They're glass, and you can see they're graduated. These are opalescent. I don't know what the material is, if it's some kind of a semi-precious stone. Not really sure, but they're very delicate, very pretty, and the clasp is lovely too. This last sweater is a tennis style sweater with this V-neck, very deep ribbing with stripes that I knit back in the 1980s. I can't believe it. It's cotton and it has this flat ribbon in a honeycomb motif. I remember it being really fun to do. I wasn't as experienced a knitter back then, but somehow I wasn't afraid to tackle this. This is the kind of thing that I would do those white milk glass beads with, and just a plain white earring. Of course, I have other white earrings, but I only brought out a smattering of things to share with you today. Today happens to be my wedding anniversary, and in the acquisitions category, I have two things. The first thing has nothing to do with my anniversary, but I was at an AARP event. It's, I think, American Association of Retired People. Now that I'm retired, I'm busier than ever because I go back to school week after next. I'm teaching children how to knit 2 different private schools in New York City. Anyway, AARP was giving out like little goodies. This is a magnification section, you can see. And it's a ruler. On this side they're inches, on this side they're millimeters, and there's a calculator. I haven't figured out why there are 2 screens, because when I try to do a calculation, it only comes up on 1 screen. So if you're familiar with anything like this that has 2 screens, can you please enlighten me? I have no idea. But I thought this would be a good thing to carry in my knitting bag because of the ruler part. And then sometimes I do have to do a calculation. Very rarely would I need a magnifying glass, but it's a little big for my Notions Altoids tin, but it wouldn't take up any space, so I think it's a cool little thing to have. Now, the other acquisition is a gift from my husband's aunt. She's the best gift giver. Aunt Joyce, if you're watching, mwah, because every gift you've ever given me for my birthday or us for anniversaries has been so carefully chosen with our particular tastes in mind. So this year, she sent us a box, a big, heavy carton, and I thought, what could that be? I don't need any objects in our apartment. It's already like stuffed. But when I saw on the side of the box that you have to be over the age of 18 to accept this parcel, I thought, ooh, alcohol of some sort. Sure enough, it's a box of wines. I'm not gonna pick the whole box up. It's heavy. It has 6 bottles of wine in it. But this is the first thing you take out. This keeps all the bottles in place so they don't clank around in shipment. And then there's this brochure that tells you the 6 bottles of wine that were chosen. She evidently put in things that she thought we would like. So they sent us a Merlot, a Zinfandel, a Sauvignon Blanc. Let me pull out the bottles and tell you, because they're from different countries and different places. Very beautiful gift. There's 3 whites and there's 3 reds. This one is from Chile, 2021 vintage, Valle de Viñedos Sauvignon Blanc. Pretty label. It's like a faceted ruby. Valeur Ajoutée, a Merlot from 2021, also from France. If you've been here before, you know I'm a Francophile, and you know that I'm heading to Paris in about a month and a half. Can't wait. Now we have Butler and Thief Wine Cellars, CELLARS. Sauvignon Blanc. I'm guessing this is a California wine. Lodi, California. Notes of citrus and green apple, light-bodied and crisp. I love the labels. Withia Flame from 2024, Zinfandel from California. Fifth Note Cellars. This is their Chardonnay from 2020. It harmonizes with grilled seafood and creamy sauces, it says. Would go with a peach cobbler French toast bake for brunch, spinach apricot salad with blue cheese crumbles for lunch, or macadamia nut crusted swordfish at dinner. Those are their food pairings recommended for this. You might know that I don't have an oven or a stove at the moment because the local gas company blew up my stove, and I've been putting it off for a long time. I want to just do a new kitchen if I have to get a new stove. Anyway, that's another story for another day. The last bottle is Bodega Regalo Sinigual from Spain. Vino Tinto. What is that? I know it's a red wine, but let me look in the little brochure to Well, their description is a medley of tobacco, white pepper, and red currant notes. Unfolds with each sip, while flavors reminiscent of a balsamic add a layer of savory sophistication. Textured tannins showcase this wine's food-friendly nature before a juicy finish leaves you craving more. So, I don't know what Vino Tinto is. I'm assuming that it's red. I'll let you know after I taste them all. It's gonna be a while. So that wraps it up for this week. I hope you enjoyed this world tour of wines. Thanks for being here. Enjoy this holiday weekend. I got my red, white, and blue, my patriotic colors here that I'm also wearing. Oh, you haven't really seen me wear the sweater yet, but I knit a wool sweater over the summer. It's really for fall, winter even. The Hope pullover. So you'll see me in it at some future date. Take care, everybody. Enjoy. Happy knitting.